So how we are going to discuss this, I can share the questions or the tutorial questions. Kita akan jawab lah, kita akan discuss one by one. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen right now. Alright, so let's discuss our first tutorial, matter and measurement. So if you remember, I'll summarize again, once again. In chapter 1, we learn about matter, what is matter, and what matter comprises of. What are the phases of matter, which are liquid, gases, and solids. And also the types of matter. Kita ada elements, compounds, nama lain untuk compounds are also known as molecules. And lastly, mixture. And mixture is categorized into two, homogeneous and heterogeneous. Homogeneous mean mixtures that are very well mixed. Okay, macam melarutkan gula dalam air panas, well mixed, tak nampak like two different layers. Okay, air gula, apa lagi, kamu bancuh cordial, sample cordial, you mix it with cool water, you dapat air oren. Okay, one mixture, one solution. Heterogeneous, a mixture tapi dia tak well mixed. Contohnya macam minyak dengan air, pasir dengan air laut. Apa lagi, kamu buat batter, chocolate chip batter, the chocolate chip will not be dissolved into the batter. Nak buat chocolate chip cookie, biscuit chocolate chip, kamu buat campur tepung, telur, air and everything, and lastly you mix with chocolate chip toppings. So the chocolate chip topping will not mix into the batter. That's one everyday example of a heterogeneous mixture. Larutan yang tak sebati. Yes, that's good. Okay, so that is the matter. What matter comprises of and the phases of matter. Okay, make sure you know how to define, make sure you know how to differentiate between elements, molecules and compounds, and mixture. Okay, so without further ado, let's go to our first tutorial. Tutorial number 1. Okay, so dalam chapter 1 juga also we discuss about measurements. Okay, the title of the tutorial is matter and measurement. We know what matter is now, and matter, the definition of matter is something that is that has mass. It has mass, dia ada berat, dia ada jisim, and it takes up space, dia mengambil ruang. So once we know the definition of matter, the next step is we want to measure berapakah berat dia, berapakah lebar dia, tinggi dia, dia punya volume dia, berapa isi padu dia. Okay, so in order for you to measure correctly, accurately and precise, you have to know the parameters of macam mana cara-cara nak mengukur. Okay, and one of the parameter adalah significant figures. Okay, so question number 1, assess whether you understand or not how to determine the number of significant figures. For example, in question number 1, how many significant figures are there in each of the following? So 1A 5.1360 meter. Okay, 5 meter, 5.1360 meter. Berapa banyak significant figure yang ada di dalam nombor ini? So to answer this, we must go back to this rule. Okay, the significant figures rule. Ada 4 basically. So the first one is all non-zero digits are significant. Okay, so all non-zero digit adalah significant. Nombor selain kosong adalah significant. So if you go back to the question, 5, 1, 3, 6 ni adalah significant. So kita ada 1, 5, 1, 3 dan 6. So we have 4 significant figures. So that leaves us with 0 dekat belakang sekali. So what does the rule say about 0? Tengok, look at rule number 2, leading zeros do not count. Maksudnya kosong yang terletak di hadapan. Macam ini, example yang dia bagi 0.0025, 0.00 ni is not significant. Okay, tapi the one that we have here, kosong terletak di belakang, it's at the back. So, look at the rule. Excuse me, sorry. Captive zeros do not count. Okay, maksudnya kosong yang terletak di tengah-tengah. Kosong yang diapit oleh nombor yang bukan kosong. For example here, 5 dengan 2 mengapit kosong. So, kosong kat tengah-tengah ni adalah significant. They do count. They are significant. Okay, tapi our question right now, kosong terletak di belakang. So, which brings us to the last rule, trailing zeros. Trailing zeros do count if the number contains a decimal. Maksudnya kalau ada nombor perpuluhan, kosong yang di belakang sekali itu, trailing zero does count, adalah significant. Okay, so that answers our question because this is a decimal point. 5.1360. So that means kosong kat belakang ini adalah significant. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 significant digits. Nampak tak kamu? Saya akan zoom in lah just in case. So, kalau if you want to say something, nak tanya soalan ke, kalau tak nampak ke, dengar tak clear ke, please turn on the mic because saya tak tengok chat room sekarang. So please turn on your mic. Right. So next question, 1B, 0.000150. So the first rule says all non-zero digits adalah significant. So 1 dengan 5 ini adalah significant. So we have 2 significant figures. Rule number 2 says 0 in the middle of non-zero digits adalah significant. Okay, saya buka balik. Captive zeros do count. Kosong yang terletak di tengah-tengah tu adalah significant. So this is significant. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And the other rule says leading zeros do not count. Kosong yang terletak di depan ni tidak count. So it's kosong, point kosong, kosong, kosong ini is not, they are not significant. Okay, tidak significant. So we still have 3 significant figures, which is 1, 4, and 5. And lastly, we have another 0 here at the back. Jadi baru kita jawab soalan kat atas tadi. Trailing zeros are significant kalau ada titik perpuluhan. Jadi kalau ada titik perpuluhan, kosong di belakang sekali itu adalah significant. So that means we have 4 significant figures. 1, 0, 5, 0. So just answer 4 significant figures. Okay, next question, 1C, 4.703. Okay, 4.703, remember all non-zero digits are significant. That means 4, 7, and 3 ni adalah significant. So we have 3 significant figures. And kosong di tengah-tengah ni, if you remember our third rule, captive zeros, kosong yang diapit. Okay, macam ni. Ini adalah significant. So that means kosong ini is also diapit, it is captive. So this is significant. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 significant figures. Right. So next question, where the confusion comes from. 1 minute. Hajar Dania. Welcome Hajar Dania. Let me share the attendance. Hajar, please sign into today's class. Okay, so this is where the confusion usually comes from bila dalam bentuk scientific notation. So this is nombor ini ditulis dalam bentuk scientific notation. Dia ada darab 10 kuasa 2. Okay, so this is 9.60. 10 to the power of 2 more ni unit. So berapa banyak signifikan yang ada kat sini, we just pay attention to nombor yang sebelum darab. Okay, so just look at here. So kemudian kat sini kita tahu ada dua significant figures because 9 dengan 6 ini adalah significant. How do I know? Because the rule says all non-zero digits adalah significant. They do count. So 9 dengan 6 ini significant. So we have two significant figures already. And kosong kat belakang ni, if you remember, trailing zeros are significant kalau ada titik. So as you can see, we have a decimal here. So that means this is significant. So that means we have three significant figures. 9, 6, and 0 all are significant. So you apply the same here. Same method. So C is an R because all of them are non-zero digit. Okay, integer. 8, 6, 9, 8, kesemuanya adalah non-zero, so they are significant. So that means we have four significant figures. Right? So significant figures are important if you are measuring very, very small numbers. So this is very, very small. Very, very small or very, very big numbers. You are going to the extreme. Macam 9.6 10.2 ini adalah 960. Yes. Big numbers. Ini sangat-sangat kecil. 8.698 adalah 10% negatif 9. Negatif 9 ni maksudnya this titik perpuluhan will go back 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 0.000000869. So very, very, very small number. So every digit here, kamu tak boleh nak gunakan sesuka hati. Kamu tak boleh nak gunakan jadi 8.7. Gunakan jadi 9.0. Because nombor 6 ni significant, penting. Nombor 9 ini pun penting. Nombor 8 ini pun penting. Kamu tak boleh gunakan jadi 9.0 darab 10% negatif 9. Because they are significant. So that's the importance of significant figures. When we are dealing with numbers that are very, very big ataupun very, very small, we have to report every significant digit. Kalau kita kira, we are calculating the number of atoms, the number of moles macam ni. Number of atoms and number of moles ni kalau you as a pharmacist kamu nak prepare dosage, very, very important. Okay, because all this akan affect kamu punya dosage. When you prepare overdose, dangerous. Underdose, the drugs will be effective. That will be done. So that's why you are learning significant figures. Kamu kena tahu the numbers that you receive, that you measure tu, what is the actual number. Kalau kamu nak bundarkan, kamu kena bundarkan nombor yang kamu boleh bundarkan nombor yang tidak signifikan sahaja. Alright, you need to report the actual numbers. Alright, so number 2, move on to question 2. State the differences between compound and mixture. Okay, so this is what I explained tadi. So, I don't know nak cuma, tapi saya buka sini. Types of matter. So as I said tadi, types of matter ada 3 jenis. Can state we are talking about elements, compounds, and mixture. Okay, this is it. Okay, so this is types of matter. Matter itu boleh bahagikan kepada dua, pure substance dan juga mixture. So pure substance, under pure substance there are 2 types, 2 categories, which is element, which are element and compound. So if you remember, element means that this is the purest substance. All the elements dalam the periodic table, those are pure substances. Hydrogen element, chlorine, bromine, iodine, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, all of those are pure substances, pure elements. Kita tak boleh nak permudahkan lagi, kita tak boleh nak bagi dia jadi lebih tulen. Okay? Compound on the other hand adalah a mixture of those elements ataupun elemen yang sama tapi dia ada in multiple atoms. Contohnya macam oxygen gas. Oxygen gas adalah satu compound, adalah sejenis compound. Dia terdiri daripada elemen oxygen tapi 2 atom, so O2. O2 oxygen gas, dia punya chemical formula adalah O2. Walaupun dia terdiri dari elemennya oksigen saja, tapi disebabkan dia ada 2 atom oksigen, dia adalah sejenis compound. Okay, if you remember, kalau ada more than one atom, itu adalah compound. Hydrogen gas, H2, chlorine gas, Cl2, bromine gas, Br2, ozone gas, O3, itu adalah compound. Itu kalau ada compound, apa nama, kalau terdiri daripada elemen yang sama, macam O2, H2, Cl2, all those examples saya bagi tadi, itu adalah compound. Compound juga boleh terdiri daripada elemen yang tidak sama, macam water. Water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen, H2O. That is also known as a compound. Apalagi banyaklah jenis-jenis acid. All of us are made up of different things. Contohnya macam acids, HCl, hydrochloric acid, sodium hydroxide, NaOH. Those are 3 atoms. Okay? If it is made up of more than 2 ataupun ke atas, itu adalah compound. That is how you differentiate between element dan compound. Mixture pula is made up of everything. Elemen dalam satu bekas, contohnya macam air kopi dan so inside this ada campuran biji kopi, campur dengan water. So dalam air itu pun dah ada macam-macam. Air yang ditapis, ada H2O, yang campur pula dengan biji kopi yang ditapis, direndam, dalamnya ada banyak molekul, banyak compound, ada banyak rasa masam, rasa pahit, rasa pokok, rasa masukkan gula, ada pula molekul gula dalam ini. So this is a mixture. Kalau kamu buat air Milo, kamu tak serbuk Milo, kamu tak gula, tak susu, tak air, that is a mixture. Okay? So that is how you differentiate between compound and mixture. Compound is made up of atoms and elements. Okay, dia terdiri daripada beberapa gabungan beberapa atom. Mixture pula is made up of a number combinations of elements, compounds, and molecules. Okay, so itu adalah perbezaan antara compound dan juga mixture. If you have any questions, please let me know. Kalau kamu nak saya jawab at the end, tulis kat chat room. Saya akan baca dekat dalam chat room later. Kamu nak jawapan sekarang, please turn on your mic and talk lah. Alright. So question number 3, nak assess whether you understand. Kamu boleh identify ataupun tidak. These things yang saya senaraikan ni adalah elemen ke, compound ke, mixture. So 3A, Cl, this is an element, chlorine. So I implore you to buka, to Google and just Google periodic table. Tengok dekat bahagian images, akan ada endless, infinite number of periodic table JPEG images. Okay. So chlorine is an element. AgCl adalah sejenis garam, silver chloride. Garam ini tidak boleh larut. It is very dense. Nak memasukkan dalam air, dia hanya akan jadi mendakan. So AgCl adalah gabungan antara 2 elemen, 2 atoms here, Ag which is silver and chlorine, Cl. So kalau gabungan beberapa atom, ini adalah molekul. Ini adalah sejenis compound. C, air laut. Air laut adalah mixture. Ada berbagai molecules, elements di dalam air laut. Okay. D, paracetamol suspension is also a mixture. Okay, ubat is made up of many things. Active ingredient, coating agent, excipients, coloring agent. Suspension maksudnya dicampur lagi dengan air. Okay, so this is a mixture. Paracetamol suspension ini selalunya adalah ubat untuk juga. Okay, 12 and below makan paracetamol suspension. You go to pharmacy, dia akan bagi dalam bentuk powder, then you have to top up with water yourself. Okay, so that is paracetamol suspension adalah sejenis mixture. E, table salt. Table salt adalah, if you Google, saya sengaja bagi macam ni so that you will Google. Apakah itu table salt? Table salt adalah sodium chloride. Garam kamu guna dekat rumah, kat dapur. If you go to the kitchen right now, kamu ambil garam, that garam is, the molecule adalah sodium chloride, NaCl. So NaCl is made up of two atoms, Na which is sodium, Cl it's chlorine. So kalau ada two atoms, that means you are dealing with molecule ataupun compound. The same goes for F. O3 adalah ozone gas. So this is made up of three oxygen atoms. Ini adalah molecule. Mocha drink, any drink that you do in this is a mixture because you mix many things. And lastly, a gold bar is a sejongkang emas. Okay, so gold bar is an element. Gold bar is only made up of gold sahaja, tak dicampur dengan bahan yang lain. Right? So make sure kalau kamu boleh jawab semua ni, maksudnya kamu understand lah, kamu boleh bezakan antara elemen, compound and mixture. Number 4, identify the following reaction as physical change ataupun chemical change. Okay, so this question saya tak address sangat dalam kelas last week, so saya nak address sekarang. Alright, so the definition to answer this question, first you must understand what is physical change and what is chemical change. So physical change ni adalah perubahan, change that is only applied to the physical properties of the substance, of the matter. Contohnya kalau saya ambil sebatang pensel, saya patahkan pensel tu, saya kepak dulu. So that is the physical change. Dia masih lagi pensel, tapi dia hanya terbagi pada dua. Okay, other example, apa lagi? Kalau saya saya masak muai, saya masak beras, saya masukkan air, saya masak lama-lama sampai dia jadi nasi air, jadi muai. Muai tu orang tahu, sebelum orang tahu, saya terguna muai tadi. Okay, so nasi air, dia jadi macam bubur nasi tu. So dia masih lagi nasi, cuma dia punya physical properties asalnya keras, beras tadi, dia jadi lembek because dia dah absorb moisture. Okay, dia jadi bubur, dia masih lagi nasi. Okay, it has the same chemical properties, chemical composition as the beras. Cuma dah absorb moisture, so jadi lembek. Itu adalah physical change. Okay, chemical change adalah perubahan yang memberi kesan pada chemical composition. Contohnya macam karat. Okay, karat ni sesuatu bahan itu sudah teroksida. Contohnya macam besi, pagar, kereta. Okay, asalnya besi keras, susah nak dipatahkan, susah nak ditebuk lubang. Tapi bila berkarat, dia sudah teroksida, dia sudah bertindak balas dengan oksigen and water, teroksida, dia jadi something very rapuh. Warna dia pun berubah. Asalnya besi is very shiny, dia berkarat, dia jadi something red and very rapuh. So the physical properties has changed. Asalnya keras, sekarang dah jadi rapuh. Kita boleh patah, pecahkan, kikis dan hancurkan. Okay, itu adalah chemical change. So make sure you understand the difference, the definition between these two changes. Physical change itu apa? Chemical change itu apa? So to assess whether you understand or not, just take a look at this question. Point A, sweat evaporate from the body after a running session. So if you go out for a run and then you stop, your sweat will evaporate. Peluh kamu di badan kamu akan tersedat. So is that physical or chemical change? The answer is physical change. Okay, dia masih lagi peluh, cuma dia sudah tersedat menjadi wap air. Okay, wap air tu masih lagi peluh. It has the same chemical composition as sweat. Peluh di badan kamu tadi. Cuma sekarang dia dah tersedat, jadilah bentuk wap air. Okay, the physical has changed, tapi the chemical properties masih lagi sama. 4B, a block of wood is chopped in half. Example saya bagi tadi lah, pensel dipatahkan dua, masih lagi pensel. So a block of wood kalau dibelah dua, masih lagi a block of wood. Now you have two blocks of wood. Okay. 4C, rust is formed on the roof of car. This is sedikit example saya bagi tadi. Ini adalah chemical change. Okay, the chemical composition sudah berubah. 4D, an ice cube melted on the kitchen counter. Satu cube ice cair di atas meja dapur. So ais tu adalah H2O dalam bentuk solid, water pun adalah H2O dalam bentuk liquid. Dia punya chemical composition masih lagi H2O, tak bertukar. So itu adalah physical change. And lastly 4E, sugar dissolving in water. Kita ambil gula, larutkan dalam segelas air, itu adalah physical change because the sugar has now dan lost dia punya physical property, physical form. Tapi dia dah larut, dia bertindak balas dengan water molecules dan bergabung dengan water molecules seamlessly. How do you know? Because when you drink the water, air itu akan rasa manis. If you take sugar, satu sudu gula, kamu letak dalam mulut kamu, kamu akan rasa manis juga. Okay, so itu masih lagi gula. So dia punya chemical composition masih lagi sama. Cuma dia larut saja. It loses its physical properties. Okay, so if you understand the definition, what is physical change and what is chemical change, kamu boleh apply the principle to the problem. Perlu yang tersejat itu adalah physical change. Karat itu adalah chemical change because asalnya adalah iron, tapi disebabkan dia bertindak balas dengan oksigen, dia jadi iron oxide, Fe2O3. Dia punya chemical structure, chemical composition sudah bertukar. Okay, iron adalah Fe, tapi bila bertindak balas dengan oksigen, O2, dia akan bergabung menjadi Fe2O3. Chemical formula, the reaction. Okay, so that's how we know whether the chemical composition dah bertukar ataupun tidak. Alright, that's it. The 4 questions. Okay, so that's it. Kalau kamu belum siapkan tutorial satu, please go over right now. Kalau kamu tak puas hati ke, macam apa nama? Ini lain. Tidak pula sebut nama. Mana saya punya? Where's the window? Okay. Nilai kamu kan? Like cat boy. Sorry kalau saya mispronounce your name. Please let me know if I mispronounce your name. So kalau kamu dah submit your tutorial satu, kamu rasa kamu ada jawab salah, dan kamu nak betulkan, you can do so. Okay, kamu boleh jawab lagi sekali. Resend your tutorial dengan jawapan yang kamu rasa lebih betul. Okay, because all the marks akan tally up in the end. Dia akan accumulate jadi grade kamu. Okay, so just email lah as per usual. Follow instruction dalam WhatsApp. Okay, so before kita move on to, before saya brief chapter 2, saya nak brief sedikit tentang your assignment. So this is assignment ending glider. Due date is all the assignments yang kena saya bagi like PDF sheet panjang-panjang macam ni. The due date is the end of semester, by exam week. So they have the time to like go over research and discuss with amongst yourselves, and then you can submit at the end of the semester. Okay, this is important also because this will accumulate as your grade. Okay, please remember, paper ni module ni tidak ada exam, only assignments, tutorial, and also one test at the end of the semester. So please make sure kalau kamu ada problem nak submit, I remind again, please let me know. If you have internet problem, please let me know. We'll find an alternative for you to submit your assignments and tutorials. Saya tak nak kamu ketinggalan rugi because we are at unprecedented time right now. Kita ada problem with tak nak attend physical classes. So this is how we are doing our assessment. So please take advantage. Saya pun tak rasa nak jadi strict sangat. So please let me know if you have problems in submitting your assignments. Okay. Okay, so before we move on to chapter 2, saya nak explain the Gimli glider assignment. So this is an assignment about converting units. So there are cerita dekat sini. So the story is a true story in Canada in 1983. A plane dia isi minyak tak cukup because of mixed up in converting units. So in 1983, the plane was flying in the sky. So the pilot was trying to convert the units. So he was trying to convert the units into kilograms. So he Before 1983, Canada uses imperial units. Imperial unit maksudnya macam feet, miles, kaki. Okay, dia tak guna meter, kilometer, milligram, gram, semua tu dia tak guna. They uses pounds, feet, miles. These are known as imperial units. So starting in 1983, the whole country changes this unit to metric, kilogram, grams, liter, and so on. So when they are filling up an aeroplane, okay, which is Air Canada, okay, so they the pilot, the co-pilot mix up the unit. So the silap convert unit, dia dah terbiasa guna imperial unit, sepatutnya guna metric unit, so dia isi minyak tak cukup. Okay, so the problem is mid-air the plane uses fuel lah, habis fuel, so they have to do an emergency landing just like a few kilometers after they took off. So minyak emisi itu sangat sikit because of the silap convert unit. So your assignment is to read the whole story here with all the details and then answer the question. Basically, the 6 questions, they all are interrelated. So you have to answer question number 1 first, and then baru boleh jawab soalan kedua. Jawab soalan nombor 2, baru boleh jawab soalan nombor 3. So the questions, you have 6 questions, dibagi kepada 2. So the first 3 questions nak assess dekat mana the co-pilot buat silap. Dekat mana dia silap convert unit. And then the second half, part 5, question 4, 5, and 6, is what he should have done. How is the calculation supposed to be? Okay, so make sure you read macam mana nak convert unit ni. If you have problem, please ask the question dalam WhatsApp group so that everyone else boleh tahu juga what is the solution. Okay, kalau teman tanya saya personally, saya jawab kat kamu seorang saja, nanti ada 10 lagi student tanya soalan yang sama. Dah buang masa kat situ. So if you have problems, please ask dalam WhatsApp group so that everyone in the class can boleh tahu juga. If they have the same problem, saya boleh jawab kat situ saja. Okay, so this is your first assignment untuk first chapter in the glider. Oops, okay. Saya nak take 5 saat, saya nak minum air. Kita akan continue with chapter 2. Saya akan brief saja chapter 2 and then that's it lah for our class today. See you in 5 minutes. Okay, guys, welcome back. Okay, so chapter 2. Chapter 2 is about the atomic structure, atomic theory. Is, if you can see, this is the the page dalam ITEL, the Learning Management and DPH C39. Basically, atomic theory, they nak explain to you the structure of an atom, what is inside an atom. If you go to the YouTube playlist, as I shared last week, please watch the history of the atomic structure. I can tell you the story. So I think that is interesting dalam introducing students to this topic, because I can figure out how we have developed, how we as a group, scientific community, developed the atomic structure since the 1800s, it was 1800, starting from John Dalton to J.J. Thomson, who discovered the electrons, and then Ernest Rutherford discovered the nucleus, which is the proton, and another group of people termasuk Einstein, Max Planck, I forgot all the names, and they have discovered the current model, the current structure of the atomic structure that we are using now. So in like 100 years, we have developed a lot of devices, technologies, because of we understand the structure of atoms. Okay, so basically, roughly this topic now make sure it wants to assure that you know how what is the structure of atoms. Atom itu terdiri daripada apa? Why do we need to know the structure of atoms? Okay. So if you want all the details, the history, please watch the video dalam yang saya share. So if I click the video lectures dalam item, it will bring me to a page. So chapter 2, the videos. I click here. Lady's name. Okay, history of atomic theory. Professor did explain. So watch this video, models of atom, Thailand ini, video number 9 and video number 10. Okay, these are interesting history bits about this topic. So to watch this, I think you will get curiosity. I can get intrigued interested to know this topic. Okay, so in this module also, in this topic also, kita akan diperkenalkan dengan satu unit yang that is very specific to chemistry, which is mole. Mole ni adalah unit yang kita guna, chemist guna, untuk measure very small number and also very big number. Okay, because we are dealing with something that is very small. Atoms, number of bilangan molecule, bilangan atom, bilangan zarah, kita tak nampak yang mata kasar. So they are either very small ataupun very big in terms of dia punya bilangan. Okay, my bad. Size dia kecil, tapi sama ada dia sangat kecil, sangat sedikit, ataupun sangat banyak. Right? And also kita nak pastikan kamu tahu macam mana nak baca nucleic symbols. How to read nucleic symbol. Okay, so let's get into the first basic atomic structure. Let's watch this video. Saya akan summarize. Okay, so atoms, they are the building blocks that make up everything. Everything that you see, that you touch, you yourself are made up of atoms. So in this video, I can introduce to you what is atom and why is it important that we know the structure of atoms. So for example, we know already from first chapter, we have 3 phases of matter: solid, liquid and gas. So dalam this video dia tunjuk gambar yang kami tengok sekarang, you should be able to see how the composition, the position of these atoms mempengaruhi the phases of the matter. Contohnya macam solid. Solid ni kat sini garam. Garam dia kumpul dekat dapur rumah tu. So table salt is made up of sodium chloride, NaCl. You can see here all the atoms, all the molecules are stacked up against one another, very rapat-rapat. So dia jadi solid. Kalau liquid, it's a bit farther apart, macam water. Kalau gas, it's very farther apart, macam oxygen kat sini. So why does atoms, molecules behave like this? So there's a reason why, and that is why we need to know what is inside an atom. Okay. So dalam video ni, okay. So kat sini you can see the drawing of representation of the atomic structure. So at the center here, yang warna merah ini ditulis sebagai nucleus. Inside the nucleus there are two things, ada neutron dan juga ada proton. Okay, proton, you have to remember charge dia adalah positive. Neutron charge tak ada charge, dia neutral. So these are the things yang mempengaruhi berat, mempengaruhi jisim sesuatu atom. That's why kalau kita tengok dalam jadual berkali unsur, every atom punya element ada punya berat dia. Later saya akan tunjukkan. So the label sekarang kat tengah tu adalah nucleus. Nucleus is made up of two things, protons and neutrons, and electron. They travel freely mengelilingi nucleus. Okay, they move freely, not necessarily in an orbit macam bulan orbit bumi. Okay, but they travel freely. But in purposes of nak tunjukkan, nak illustrate for you students to understand, just they work dalam bentuk orbit ini lah. But in reality, it moves freely, randomly all around the nucleus. Okay, and electrons, this is very important, their charge adalah negative. Okay, so these charges are basically like macam a magnet. Okay, you remember that magnet, opposites attract. The opposites pole, kutub selatan dan kutub utara of magnet akan be attracted to each other. So electron dengan proton ni pun, they have basically the same principles. Tapi cumanya because of the distance between them adalah jauh, so they are not tak melekat macam magnet. So that's why electron they are at a distance where they are not able to escape the proton, which is charged positive. Tapi dia tidak terlalu dekat, dia akan tertarik pada proton. So that's why they travel freely mengelilingi nucleus. Okay, because the charge of the electron is attracted to the charge of the proton, which is positive. Okay, so that's why electron travel freely mengelilingi nucleus, kerana nucleus mengelilingi proton yang bercharge positif. Okay, so this is important for you to know, electron charge negative dan proton charge positif, because moving forward kita akan belajar tentang ions. So ions ni adalah atom yang either kehilangan elektron ataupun dia tambah elektron. Okay, because atoms can do that. Atoms can either gain electron ataupun can lose electrons. So dia punya charge akan berubah. Bila charges berubah, dia akan affect dia punya structure. Dia akan affect dia punya behavior. Dia suka bertindak balas. Dia suka bergabung dengan apa, macam mana cara dia bergabung. So don't worry about that yet. Just understand for now. Electron charge negative, proton charge positive. Okay. Sekarang in this video kita tengah explain the mass of an atom. So the mass of an atom is affected by the nucleus. Okay. Contohnya macam kat sini dia bagi satu contoh proton dan neutron dia punya jisim dia very very small, 0.0000016 gram. So the mass of a proton dan juga neutron adalah sangat-sangat kecil. Okay, so kat sini dah explain the mass of an atom is only affected by proton dan neutron, tetapi elektron tidak mempengaruhi berat sesuatu atom kerana berat elektron sangat-sangat kecil. Okay, kat sini kalau dia nak tunjukkan berat satu proton adalah 1 AMU. Dia represent 1.67 ni is the actual mass of neutron and juga proton. Tetapi so they represent as 1 AMU, senang nak tulis. Okay, 1 atomic mass unit. AMU is the representation of this number. Okay, so berat satu atom, satu proton dan juga satu neutron bersama dengan 1 AMU. Okay, these are the mass yang mempengaruhi berat sesuatu atom. Okay, so kalau satu atom tu ada satu proton dan juga satu neutron, that means dia punya berat atom tu adalah 2 AMU. Alright, so in this case, dia nak tunjuk elektron berat dia sangat-sangat kecil. So oleh sebab itu berat sesuatu elektron diabaikan dalam kita nak menggambarkan berat sesuatu atom. Di sini ditunjuk satu proton berat dia 1 AMU, tapi satu elektron berat dia adalah 0.0000549. Sangat-sangat kecil. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 kali lebih kecil daripada proton. Dia punya berat satu elektron. So kita abaikan berat elektron. So the mass of an atom is only represented by the mass of proton and juga neutron. So if you can see, this video is very, very short. Not very, very short, but 7 minutes. So 8 minutes, 7 minutes and 40 seconds. So this is the structure of an atom. Okay, dalamnya ada 3 benda, electron, proton and neutron. And proton and neutron will make up the nucleus, which is at the center of the atom. And this nucleus akan represent the mass of an atom. Bilangan proton dan juga bilangan neutron akan mewakili berat sesuatu atom tersebut. Okay, so that is the gist, that is the perkara penting, that is the outline of this video, this topic right here, basic atomic structure, a look inside the atom. Okay, you have to remember the charge of proton is positive and the charge of electron is negative, and electron moves freely within the bounds of the nucleus. They can travel non-linearly nucleus. Okay, so that's the first part. The second part is nuclear symbol. Mana nuclear symbol? Saya nampak tadi kat atas. Okay, so what is nuclear symbol? So nuclear symbol is explained in this video, a very short video. Saya suka guna this Professor D video because his videos are short, relatively short. So for example, here only 5 minutes. So we know already, nucleus is made up of proton and neutron. Proton is positively charged and neutron is neutral, tidak ada charge. And electrons, which is negatively charged, travels freely in the nucleus. Okay. So different atoms, different element, ada different number of proton, different number of electrons. So for example here, if you okay, so for example here dia bagi contoh periodic table. Ini jadual berkala unsur. Ini period number 2. In period number 2, they highlight carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine. So if you buka any periodic table, this is the format lah. Kat tengah-tengah ni akan ada each square akan ada this chemical symbol. Carbon, for example here, carbon C, nitrogen N, oxygen O, and fluorine is F. Kat atas ni nombor kecil kat atas all those chemical symbols, those letters adalah atomic number. So atomic number ini adalah bersamaan dengan nombor proton, which means the number of protons these elements have. So for example, carbon here, kalau atomic number is 6, that means dia ada 6 proton. Nitrogen, Kalau atomic number is 7, that means dia ada 7 proton. Oxygen, kalau atomic number is 8, that means dia ada 8 bilangan, 8 biji proton. That's what it means. And if you like take a look at the big picture of the periodic table ni, elemen dia disusun daripada kiri ke kanan and kiri ke kanan mengikut atomic number. So hydrogen is at the, excuse me, let me just periodic table. So if I just Google any image of the periodic table, okay. So if you take a look at this periodic table, the first element is hydrogen. The atomic number is 1. And then you go to the right, the second element is helium. The atomic number is 2. Okay, then turun to the second period, ke bawah kiri, lithium. Element ketiga, the atomic number is 3. And then beryllium, atomic number is 4. Itu dia punya urutan. And then boron is 5, carbon is 6, nitrogen is 7, oxygen 8, chlorine 9, neon 10, and then it goes on and on, kiri ke kanan, and then kiri kanan sampailah to the latest element kita discover, 118th element, organism. Okay, so right now kita dah discover, kita dah temui sebanyak 118 elemen. So that means organism ni ada 118 proton. So it is bernama elemen yang sangat-sangat berat. Okay, itu maksud atomic number. Atomic number bersamaan dengan proton number, bilangan proton. Alright, so saya tak nak kamu confuse. Okay, so let's go back to the video. So, okay, so kat sini dia nak tunjuk dia punya mass number. All nucleic symbols, kamu akan ada chemical symbol, which is the big letters, huruf-huruf tu. And then ada atomic number, nombor yang ke atas tu. Itu dia tunjukkan bilangan proton. And one other number selalunya terletak di bawah chemical symbol adalah mass number. Okay, for example, dia dah ambil carbon. Carbon ada 6 proton. So atomic number dia adalah 6. So the mass number maksudnya berat sesuatu elemen tu. And in here we are talking about carbon. Bilangan proton bersamaan dengan bilangan neutron. So maksudnya kalau ada 6 proton, bilangan neutron adalah 6. So the mass number adalah 12. Okay, so that's how we calculate these things. Kita punya mass number dan juga proton number. So jisim berat neutron bersamaan dengan berat proton. Atomic mass unit. This video dia akan ajar kamu, dia akan explain how to read, how to assess the information yang ada di dalam nucleic symbol yang ada dalam periodic table. So in another example yang digunakan kat sini, Mg is a chemical symbol for magnesium. So for magnesium, dia punya atomic number is 12. So nucleic symbol dia punya what's the word? Dia punya position of this number is different than the one in periodic table. So this is the format of nucleic symbol. We have a chemical symbol kat sini Mg, which is for magnesium, and nombor kat atas top left dan juga nombor kat bawah bottom left. So nombor yang kat top left ni adalah mass number, gabungan antara bilangan proton dan juga bilangan neutron. Dekat bottom left 12 ni adalah atomic number, which denotes the number of proton. Okay, so kalau sometimes bilangan proton tak sama dengan bilangan neutron, so kita akan go into that later. So from here kita boleh tahu lah bilangan neutron in this case adalah apa. So macam mana nak tahu bilangan neutron? because mass number ni adalah gabungan proton dan neutron, kita boleh ambil 24 ini tolak 12. 12 ni adalah bilangan proton. So 24 tolak 12, so the number of neutron is 12. Okay, that's the number. That's how we calculate the number of neutron. So dia bagi formula dekat bawah, mass number tolak atomic number dapatlah bilangan neutron. Okay, and sometimes nuclear symbol akan ada electrical charge. Macam kat sini dia bagi contoh 2+. So what does this mean? So 2+ ni adalah electrical charge, maksudnya dia sudah kehilangan 2 elektron. Okay. So as I mentioned tadi dalam the previous video, atoms can either gain electrons ataupun lose electrons. Okay, so in this case Mg2+. So Mg2+ maksudnya dia jadi semakin positif, 2+. Okay, bilangan positif dia dah jadi 2. So this means dia sudah kehilangan 2 elektron. How do I know that? This is because electron charge dia adalah negative. So you have to remember charge electron adalah negatif. Satu bilangan elektron maksud bersama dengan negatif satu charge. So kalau sesuatu atom tu ada electrical charge 2+, maksudnya dia sudah kehilangan sebanyak 2 elektron. So saya selalu bagi contoh analogi kalau macam somebody you humanize this this situation. Kalau seseorang tu it's changing for the better, dia tinggalkan sesuatu bad habit. Katakanlah saya hari ni katakanlah saya suka tidur. So tidur yang macam tidur I like to sleep the whole day. I like to take naps. So that is a bad habit because it can affect my productivity, my motivation level tak bagus lah. Okay, so the next day I berazam untuk tak akan take long naps anymore. So I'll be more productive. So saya akan tinggalkan my bad habit. So that is a negative thing that I'm leaving behind. So bila saya tinggal this bad habit, saya jadi semakin positive. So the same principle you apply to this atom here. So magnesium, kalau dia kehilangan satu elektron, dia punya electrical charge akan jadi semakin positif sebanyak by 1 account. So kalau dia hilang satu elektron, dia jadi Mg1+, Mg+. Kalau dia hilangkan another electron, so dia akan jadi Mg2+. Okay, so that is why the electrical charge here 2+, saya tahu dia sudah kehilangan sebanyak 2 elektron. Okay, so that is why it is important for you to know the charges of protons and juga electrons. Because atoms, most of the time, 99% of the time, dia tak stabil. So tak stabil in here means dia akan either gain electron ataupun lose electron. Dia tak akan just stay as an element. Tak banyak elemen yang stabil, dia tidak akan bertindak balas. Dia tak akan lose ataupun tak akan gain electron. Only a certain number of elements saja dalam 118 elemen yang sudah dijumpai itu, dia akan stay dalam bentuk atom. Okay, so make sure in the end, ultimately, kamu perlu tahu, saya nak rewind, I'm rewinding the video. Kamu perlu tahu how to read the nuclear symbol. Okay, kamu perlu tahu Mg ni adalah dia punya chemical symbol. Mg stands for magnesium. You don't, sorry, excuse me. Tak apa. Okay, so Mg is for magnesium. Kalau kamu tak tahu, you have to refer to periodic table, Google. Okay, so that's why in my LMS I attach one sheet of periodic table. Okay, so make sure you know kat tengah ni adalah chemical symbol. On the bottom left is the mass number, and you have to remember mass number is the combination of bilangan proton dan juga bilangan neutron. Okay, 24 ni. Nombor dekat bawah ni, bottom left is the atomic number, which is also known as the proton number, bilangan proton. So, If I understand this, the definition of all these things, so kalau atomic number is 12, that means magnesium ada 12 biji proton. And kalau mass number dia ialah 24, dia ada sebanyak 12 biji neutron. Because 24 tolak 12 bersamaan dengan 12. And bilangan elektron, okay, this is one saya tinggal tadi, bilangan elektron akan sama dengan bilangan proton. So magnesium ada sebanyak 12 biji proton. So that means dia ada 12 biji elektron. Tetapi in this case, in this example here dalam video ni, dia tunjuk kat sini dia ada 2 plus. So as I explained tadi, 2 plus here means dia sudah kehilangan 2 elektron. So dia jadi semakin negatif, that means dia sudah kehilangan elektron. It loses electrons. Specifically 2 electrons plus 2 plus. So that means kalau asalnya dia ada 12 biji elektron, dia kehilangan 2 elektron. So that means right now Mg2 plus has a number of 10 electrons. Okay, that is the pertama. Kalau banyak-banyak saya kamu tak faham tadi, make sure kamu tahu macam mana nak interpret the symbols. Apakah maksud all these numbers here? Berapakah bilangan proton, berapakah bilangan neutron, berapakah bilangan elektron. Okay, you have to know how to read the symbol. Apa lagi? Okay, now we move on to the periodic table. Okay, so in the periodic table dia tulis macam ni. The chemical symbol dekat tengah-tengah, dia punya proton number kat atas, and dia punya mass number kat bawah. Okay, atomic mass. So chlorine in this case berat dia adalah 35.453 AMU. Gabungan antara proton dan neutron bersama dengan 35.453. So right now kita nak venture into isotopes. So what are isotopes? So isotopes are important informasi in your current level. Tak nampak banyak application. Tak nampak apakah what is isotope, what is isotope. So if you venture further into the chemistry, if you do masters, if you do doctorate or PhD, there will be massive difference in understanding isotopes. For example here, certain elements with different variations. Dan variation ini dikategorikan mengikut dia punya atomic mass. So for example, chlorine. Chlorine ada 2 isotop. Isotop means elemen yang sama mengandungi bilangan proton yang sama, tetapi mengandungi bilangan neutron yang berbeza. For example, chlorine bilangan proton dia 17, tetapi chlorine 35 ada 18 neutron, chlorine 37 ada 20 neutron. Okay, so that's why dia punya atomic mass berbeza. Atomic mass chlorine 35, mass dia adalah 35, chlorine 37, mass dia adalah 37. Okay, you remember tadi dia punya mass number adalah gabungan antara bilangan proton dan juga bilangan neutron. So 17 campur 18 jadilah 35, which is the mass of this atom, this element. 17 campur 20 jadilah 37. Okay, so it is simple, tapi it can get confusing. So make sure you know isotope adalah elemen yang sama mengandungi bilangan proton yang sama, tetapi mengandungi bilangan neutron yang berbeza. So go back to this video, boleh tengok contoh yang ini. Okay, so the mass is between 35 and 37. And this percentage right here, 75% and 25% ni menunjukkan dia punya abundance. Dia punya dalam dunia ni 75% of chlorine adalah chlorine 35. Okay, and the other 25% adalah chlorine 37. Itu maksud this percentage. Okay, we have 75% chance of discovering chlorine 35 and 25% chance of discovering chlorine 37. So chlorine 35 ni bilangan dia lebih banyak, 75%. Chlorine 37 bilangan dia only 25%. Okay, so that's what I need for you to understand from this subtopic isotope. what is isotope. So this is an assessment yang dia buat. So nanti pendengar saya akan bagi isi tutorial juga macam ni. Saya akan bagi nucleus number, contohnya macam team SN kat sini. Dia bagi electrical charge dan dia bagi mass number. Kemudian kamu kena cari what is the atomic number, what is the mass number, charge dia berapa, dan sebagainya. This is for me to assess whether you understand or not, whether you know how to read the nucleus number ataupun tidak. Okay, so that's basically what I need you to understand from chapter 2. Okay, bukan semua lah. So saya nak kamu tengok the videos from 9 until mana ni? Until 8 sampai 15. Okay, 9 until 15. So nampak macam banyak ada 6 video, tapi video yang macam saya cakap tadi very short, 5 minit, 7 minit. So ada masa seminggu. Masa seminggu tu kamu akan buat tutorial juga. So kamu boleh tengok masa nak buat tutorial. Okay, so please watch video number 9 until video number 15. Introduction to modules. Okay, if you don't have any questions, that's it. That's it for class today. So can you teach macam mana nak buat? Syakira, kamu tanya teach nak buat apa ni? Sebab ada so kalau kamu buka mic gitu, saya tak dengar. Boleh cakap lagi sekali tak, Syakina?
Sekejap Bisa dengar tak?
Dengar.
Boleh tak ajar macam mana nak buat assignment tu, sebab ada separuh daripada budak diploma farmasi ni ada yang bukan dari kelas sains tulen, so macam tak berapa tahu macam mana nak
assignment
buat.
Gimli Glider tadi tu, yang Air Canada tadi tu.
Yang tadi tu.
Okay. Tu next week lah, okay. Because next week kita akan discuss tutorial 2. Saya akan go over juga sekali Gimli Glider assignment tu.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Alright, so macam biasa saya akan share your tutorial 2 later today ataupun esok. So kamu akan ada masa seminggu untuk buat. The due date is the same, sama juga macam saya mention tadi, is at the end of the semester. Okay, all these classes is just for us to discuss, for you to understand. Saya nak kamu faham. That's the main goal. Okay, saya nak kamu faham step by step. Because kalau kamu tak faham step number 1, topic number 1, topic number 2, kamu akan ada some difficulty. Kalau kamu tak faham that one, topic number 3, susah sikit. So make sure it is important we move step by step, and you have to understand chapter 1 first, baru boleh move on chapter 2. Understand chapter 2, move on to chapter 3. Because all the videos yang saya susun dalam playlist tu is according to the topics also. So you have to understand all the videos, ikut the video. Alright, so kalau tak ada, saya rasa semua orang dah dapat link untuk attendance. Kalau tak ada, please saya share lagi one more time. Please sign in. Saya akan stop recording right now.